Okay, so each week we gather to discuss what happened in the world of social media over the past 7 days. We call it Social Media Fridays. This is episode 5. With us today we have Edwin Jonk from IDShost.nl in the Netherlands, Masataki Wasa, who's a Google top contributor on the web search forum and also on the Google Plus help community. And
Not
Tony
quite.
McCreath. No, am I wrong, Masataki? Tell me, refresh my memory.
AdSense and Google Plus.
AdSense and Google Plus. I'm so sorry. Tony McCreath, Australia's leading SEO. Am I wrong there, Tony?
No, you can't be. That just means I'm in front of other people or something, isn't
it? Tony runs Website Advantage, is that right? Or Web Advantage in South Australia? Yeah. Which one is it? Website Advantage or Web Advantage?
Website Advantage.
Website Advantage. Ah, cool. Okay, so each week we add items of interest to the Social Media Fridays community. Our first this week was posted by Tony, and it was about a Facebook exec ranting about the quality of journalism. Is that right? In South Australia?
No.
Which one is it? Website Advantage or Web Advantage?
Website Advantage.
Website Advantage.
Okay.
Somebody's playing this back. Yeah, who is it? All right. Good heavens. Okay, so we're talking about a post on marketingland.com where Mike Hudak asked to please allow me to rant for a moment. Tony, you loaded this one. Tell us all about it.
Have we got back to normal there?
I think we are.
I heard about 3 copies of the same conversation there. Yeah, so this is an exec from Facebook who ranted about journalism going downhill and all these cheap articles and things, and a couple of journalists replied saying it's Facebook's fault for promoting that sort of journalism. So is journalism going downhill? They were saying CNN is as the quality of what they're doing has gone way downhill, and is journalism going down to the common denominator and doing articles about cats now?
Well, they're still looking for that plane, aren't they, on CNN? I wonder if it's not so much journalism, but journalists are responding to what the market wants. You know, I mean, if you were to post a serious article on Facebook, could you seriously expect a reasoned reply?
Yeah, it's they've got to attract the audiences to make their money, and if the audiences are, I'm trying to find the term you used, it's quite a good one. These low quality articles is what people are interested in, the trivial stuff. So if that's what makes the money, they've got to do that sort of stuff, and the quality stuff gets pushed aside.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in a print, in a print newspaper, as it were, you could bundle them together, right? People paying for the whole paper, people not paying for individual article in the paper. Nowadays, people are going for the individual articles. They're viewing individual articles, individual pages, rather than the whole package, as it were. So, you have to create and market content that's going to attract the readership, and people are interested in gossip and salacious things, and that's human nature.
Yeah, it's very easy for us to now just sift through stuff and pick what we want. And in the old days, like being from England, you used to have the BBC, and the only choice was ITV. That's the only alternate. And the news was the news, and you had to watch it. And whereas now, hundreds of channels plus free for all on the internet, is they do have to adjust, and this. Yeah, there's nothing forcing them to keep up doing the high quality real news. It's not, well, maybe the BBC is their standards staying good.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think it's good. I mean, and they don't have to worry about making money. So
yeah, that's the thing, that their motive's a bit different, isn't it?
But newspapers, I think, I think it's become much more difficult for them. There have been two routes, right? One is to charge people. The other is really to go free, whether it's digitally or in print. London Evening Standard, which is evening paper which has been around for a very long time, and used to cost, I think, and I think it used to cost, I think, 55p or something like that a copy, and they went free. Now you can pick it up in central London, and that's increased their circulation figures, and they're making more money from the ad revenue because there are more readers now.
Yeah. What was Mike Hudak's main complaint, Tony?
I'm trying to find his. He used a term. Let's see if I can find it.
Well, he's basically saying that CNN is BuzzFeed.
Look, excuse me a moment. How about we move on to the next Facebook article, and maybe we'll cover Mike Hudak's issues as well. This was a very significant change to Facebook. In the past, Facebook has always relied on the ignorance of users to fail to uncheck the defaults on privacy and the difference between public posts and posts to friends. Just either today or yesterday, they rolled out a completely a new change and introduced a comprehensive privacy checkup function. I mean, Facebook doesn't do anything unless it benefits Facebook, but this I can't see this benefiting Facebook. Do you think they've done this because of pressure?
Recently, they've not been under that much pressure on their privacy policy, have they? Or
I mean, user pushback to Facebook.
I'm just looking at mine, and it still defaults to public, but that's probably because I manually changed it to public, so that it's remembered that I specifically said that. Well, was the ability to do public posts a reaction to Google Plus? Because I've got the feeling it came out pretty quickly after that.
Okay, let's look at a broad overview. How do we think Facebook is adapting to change? How do we think Facebook? I mean, is Facebook becoming yesterday's news?
I think it'll take a while for that to become the MySpace. Yeah, MySpace has proved that you can lose it. You can do too many wrong things. Someone else comes with a better product.
Okay.
Was it a while back people were talking about the young people weren't getting into Facebook that much? It wasn't suiting what they're interested in?
Yeah, I think we covered a story on that in one of our first hangouts. So Social Media Fridays 1 or 2. I'm fairly sure that we were talking about that.
Yeah, so it could end up being when we're sitting in the rocking chair in our retirements, we'll talk to our kids about the thing called Facebook that existed when we were lads.
Well, I think the thing about Facebook was that it didn't have your parents on it. Now all of the parents are on it, and the kids are leaving Facebook because of that. Okay. How about we talk about something that I am really interested in, and I posted the post from Dave Besbris when he announced 9 new features in Google Plus for Android, and you know, like just the first one, Auto Awesome Stories. Now combine your photos, videos, and the places you visit into beautiful travelogues. And Auto Awesome Movies are now available on Android, iOS, and the web. So lots more people will receive highlight reels of their photos and videos. You know, I mean, do we really need this crap? I mean, is it useful? I mean, I see this as an indication that Google doesn't value the collaborative aspects of Google Plus, and you know, these all 9 items here really just apply to one person posting their photos, and they're going to look a little bit more glamorous. Well, woohoo! Maybe that's where Google sees the market is, but if that's where Google sees what, you know, if that's their choice of what the market wants, or what they perceive is what the market wants, I say it's a death knell for Google Plus.
They also did a lot of updates that aren't on that list. So I'm guessing it was a news release, and they're just doing what's shiny, what people will find, go, woo, that's cool. But behind it all, they've also moved around how you connect with communities and things like that. I'm still trying to get used to the new interface, so there's quite a few things they've shuffled around, and I think it's an improvement, but it's not newsworthy. stuff if they change the top banner to red.
Well, I think the photos are quite significant. People are making so many photos these days that it's right. It would take you a lifetime to organize it, and if Google is doing that for you, then that's a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what the stories are, and I think they're quite neat. I mean, what images they pick, I just don't know. But
you can change that.
Yeah, you can edit it later.
They even put Google Maps thing on top of it, which you can change.
Yeah, so I think that there's a need for that because people now take more photographs than ever. It's so easy to take photographs, and people don't really have the time to organize them. So I think there's a demand for that, and I think with time, I think it will improve and will work very well. So I think it's a neat, it's a neat product. I think there's a demand for it. The question is that will work for people who already sort of are on Google sphere, as it were, and have their images on Google Plus Photos, and mainly through auto backup from their mobile devices. Whether it will lead to sort of acquisition of new members, new people coming into Google Plus, I think that's the interesting bit. I think it does do a lot for people who are already on Google Plus and use photos quite extensively. The question is, in my mind, is it a kind of thing that will attract people who are not on Google Plus to start using Google Plus Photos instead of another photo storage space or another platform?
Well, I think when you first boot up an Android phone, they will ask you to connect to Google Plus, and not sure if the backup photo is it's by default checked, but that will be the way for people to get into the Google Plus sphere.
Yeah, I think that's certainly the case, and it does feel to me as if it's very much because the stories don't have to have location, but it helps if you have location information. So
I think Google even tries to guess the location.
Yeah. I think it's worked. I think landmark recognition works, but then I think I had one example where it worked because there's a big picture of Big Ben, and I think Google recognized that, so they recognized it was in London because it doesn't. It was uploaded from a camera. It doesn't have a location data, and yet none of the photographs in that particular album contained anything from my mobile device, which would have location data. And it seemed to have recognized, and I didn't know what exactly happened, but it seemed to have recognized Big Ben and said it was in London, and then created a story from that album with various bits and pieces of London. So yeah, I think. And it can, of course, it can be shared. So yes, I think it's a pretty interesting product, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. If you can share it. In the past, I've done Picasso albums online to share my stories of travels, and obviously that means that I share it on Facebook, pulling people over onto Google to see the see the images. So this is going to be a nicer way to present it than that. Even better. In fact, Picasa I thought was cool because it had maps and all things like that. So I've just signed up to it, and so I've got to wait till my stories get created. So I've not actually played with it yet, but I can imagine it's pretty cool.
I wonder if we'll ever see improvements for Google Plus to become a blogging platform. I mean, currently we can't put in. You can bold the headline. You can use strikeout text, italics, and so on. But really, there's not much there for somebody wanting to post an article. You can't include an inline image as well as a link to your main blog, for argument's sake. You get one or the other. It'd be nice to be able to insert an image on the way, or insert. Lost my train of thought, but maybe that might have encouraged me more to know that Google did recognise, the collaborative aspects of Google Plus, because I see Google Plus as degenerating to a set of admittedly awesome features, but not really fulfilling the promise that say a platform like Wave could do. I wonder if that's because it simply costs too much in bandwidth and storage to run something like that. And since there's no advertising on Google Plus, maybe that's why they're heading in that direction. Thoughts?
I think one issue is that, again, I think we touched on this before, but what is Google Plus, and in a sense, who is it for? And I think it's squarely sort of consumer oriented in a sense that it's for, it's not necessarily, I think, for good collaborative work. It's not a platform that, I think.
Yes, and wasn't this the direction that we were heading in?
You mean sort of platform for collaborative work?
Yes.
I don't know. I think how could I put it? In a sense, I suppose it was trying to meet various different demands at the same time. So creating a platform that would allow such, at the same time allowing for others to use it in different ways. Perhaps it's now more clearly oriented towards probably the largest group of users.
With Google Plus itself, which is social.
Yeah.
Because we've also got Google Docs, which kind of does the collaboration there, or Blogger.com, which does your blogging ability. All are integrated into the Google Plus user base.
Yeah, I think interesting thing would be sort of doc/drive and how you can use that, but it doesn't have the coherence of Wave. I think that's true. And Blogger is a huge beast. I'm not so sure Google would want to create essentially two products that occupy the same area.
Yeah, so people doing a article writing thing in Google Plus will just compete with themselves in Blogger.
So, I mean, is that how you guys see it? Google Plus is a photo sharing app?
Among other things, yes. I think, I suppose they've looked into how people are using Google Plus, and Picasa web albums, they were pretty huge too. So, and people have been adding images to the albums for a very long time by now. So Google has a lot of photos in the, I know, in its space, as it were. So I think it does make sense to work on photos, because that's one product area where they can make a huge difference and where they know that there are many users.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the conversational platform that's they're using that to integrate into other things, like your conversation in Docs is using the Google Plus thing. So images and conversation, it's the social. It is the social part of Google Plus, which they're trying to build into other things as the social part.
Yeah, and images, people are often both creators and consumers. I think to a greater degree than videos, for example. I mean, there are lots of YouTube creators, but I think there are far more viewers, consumers, if you like, of YouTube clips. Whereas I think photos, most people take photographs, and many of them want to share their photographs. So I think there is that element of both being a creator and a consumer.
Google did push Google Plus for Business, where you can share with your co-workers video meetings, like the Hangouts. So I'm not sure which direction Google is going.
Well, I mean, in Woolworths here in Australia, they're a big chain of stores, one of the largest companies in Australia. They've gone Google Plus with Google Apps and the sharing. I wonder how they feel now that Google Plus is just totally focused on pretty things.
Well, I don't think they are, Jim. I think it's just another feature.
Okay, but I mean,
and I don't think they do this in real time. When the servers are lower, then they say, well, can make a story. So, as far as I know, the stories have a lower priority than, say, your notifications.
Is anybody like me? I've had to turn notifications completely off because they just don't work for me. These days, I do the reverse. I keep you guys in a circle, and each day I actually go to that circle to see what you've posted, because the notifications is just crazy. It just doesn't work. I don't get notifications from the people I want to hear from, and I get a squillion from people that want to sell me, everything, diets, funerals, and whatever. I don't want notifications from those people. Are you guys finding the same?
Well, you can restrict who can notify you.
No, you can't really. anybody that circles you can notify to send email to the members of that circle. You can then
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
yeah,
And then you have to block them, don't you?
yeah, you can either
Yeah,
block
mute
or
or block
mute
them,
that
yeah.
person. But I mean, they've already got you the first time. I mean, and if a couple of hundred of them do that, it makes notifications unusable. Rob Mars thinks I'm too popular. I doubt that's true, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Yesterday I got notifications in Google Chrome for Drive and Gmail, but today it's come. It was like a bell in Google Chrome. Did you guys saw that? Or?
Where?
Yeah.
I think that's still it's been there, Edward.
Oh, was it there already?
It's always that.
You're breaking up, Jim.
Oh, I'm sorry, mate. I've got a bandwidth issue. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yes.
But before that.
Look, I'm sorry about that. I'll make sure that it's fixed for next week. All right. So I think to sum up, you guys are all in favour of this latest announcement, and you think I'm an idiot.
Well, we can talk about point 6. Profiles now display total content views on both Android and the web.
I don't get me started on the views thing.
Do many real people actually see these announcements, or is it more of they stumble upon features? And I think that's the best way they can do it, is that this feature will suddenly put itself in front of people. Say when they go into the little picture gallery, it suddenly goes, "Do you want a story?" And
yeah, or we have created stories for you. Would you like to see them now?
Yeah, and then share them.
Yeah. No, I think it. I think Google has learned the lesson from Auto Enhance, Auto Awesome issues that they had. I mean, I think it was Auto Enhance that was problematic in the sense that someone who likes his or her pictures and likes to edit his or her own way went to Google Plus Photos, and suddenly their photographs being edited automatically by Google, right? And I think that sort of was problematic for many people, including myself. I thought, oh dear, this is not something I want. So I moved most of my images away from Google Plus Photos stroke Picasa Web Albums after that. So I think they've done that better in that people might might have a look and say, oh yeah, that's interesting. I think it's a very good question how many people actually sort of follow and read about updates on the platform. Probably not many. So yeah, I think Tony's absolutely right. I think the best way for this to spread is for people to find out and liking what they see. And I think it's decent enough product that most people would like it, and it's not going to disrupt or touch the photographs themselves. It's a creation in addition, isn't it? It's not sort of replacing your image with a version that Google thinks is better. So I think it avoids that issue that they had with Auto Enhance.
Yeah, I had a picture auto awesomed, and well, it was a series of pictures it put together as an animation, and I was impressed, and I shared it. It was instant, like, oh, this is cool. So they can definitely get it right, and this, it's no effort for me, and suddenly this cool thing came in front of me. So if they can keep on doing that sort of thing, these basically auto awesomes, I think that can bring more people on board. Just by them accidentally seeing them. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, the motion ones are quite good fun.
What's that?
I guess I must be an incurable romantic, yeah, but I look back to the pre-beta days of Google Plus and those amazing conversations and discussions and the capacity for social change and also for influencing opinion. In those days, I just thought that was a world-changing thing. Now that it's harder and it's harder to. I mean, they specifically discourage you from writing long articles, and how they do it is they provide a JavaScript editor that it seems to crash right after you've written the 15th point on your amazing post, and then you say, "Ah, stuff it. I just don't have the energy to do it again." And yes, it's great to be able to share photos, but I mean, if Google Plus is just something for me to share my lunch and share my cat, I'm not sure if that's enough for me.
As long as you can do what you want without the other things getting in your way. So for people who have conversations, you can do that without having to worry about there's a photo gallery. You just go into where you want.
Yeah, and we go back to the sort of first thing that we discussed. You have to appeal to the audience. And the question is, as Tony said, is the platform robust enough, flexible enough to allow different types of communication, different types of sharing to take place? And I think it is, and you have to choose whom you follow quite carefully for that, and you have to use it in a certain way. But I think it does allow for it.
Fair enough. Well, this is one more piece of evidence that I'm wrong and everybody else is right. Let's
flip it to Facebook. To me, I find they've got it very cluttered now, and so these features aren't just you can't find when you want to do anything anymore on Facebook. Whereas Google seem to have got it right that you can do. You just seem to be able to do it. If you want to post a gallery, it's very easy to find your gallery and things like that. In fact, does Facebook still have galleries?
What happens if you click on the photos that on your the landing page?
But it's not instant. I'm now looking, which means they've not got it right. Whereas Google, I guess, off the top of my head, you go to your profile and you've got a Pictures tab.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it depends, doesn't it? Because if you're on your wall or not on Facebook.
I got it. Yeah, so it's similar. You go to your profile and it's photos.
Yeah. because you land on your wall, right? So you have to go to your profile page, and then it's there below the cover photo, I think. Sort of there's a band with photos, videos, and something like that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I got it. I just feel Facebook, you look at the page and you've got a million options, a million things happening with adverts and messages on the right, complex menu on the left, and whereas Google Plus is very clean, but you can still do just as much.
Yeah, no, I find Facebook too cluttered whenever I sign in, but at the same time, some people like that. They like to have things there. And for some people, Google Plus is too sparse, too Spartan, as it were.
Yeah.
Too much white space.
Something that annoys me with Facebook is my OCD, is the list on the left has always got numbers on it, how many things you've not read, and I have to go through that. I have to go and I don't even read them, I just click on them to get rid of the number.
What do you do with the notification thing on Google Plus then?
Yeah, actually the community one kind of annoys me on that, because that's just constantly getting red numbers coming up. But general notification, that's quite easy to, because it's a single list. At least you don't have to go through 20 things to clean it up. You can, if you feel like it, you just click catch up.
But you can turn off notifications to communities, and then just use the communities tab, and it'll tell you how many messages have been posted in each one.
I think that's what Tony finds annoying.
Even that, is you go and you got these little red numbers.
Yeah. 99 plus.
I switch off all notifications, and you still get emails coming through, but I generally ignore them, just delete them, and then go into Google Plus, and yeah, you find it on the side-hand notification bar, all the communities, and at least then it's me in charge of when I go in there to clean up. So yeah, you want a system that suits everybody's needs, and Google Plus could be better at switching off those notifications. And Facebook.
Fair enough. Well, have we covered this? My criticism of Dave Besbris's plan for the future, and your admiration for it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. Here's one from Edwin Yonk. Some strategies to reshare your content. Tell us about that one, please, Edwin.
Well, it was posted on marketingland.com from Mark Trapagent. And basically he says, repeat more.
Oh, is this the one with that you tweet every 20 minutes type thing, because the Twitter feed's so fast?
Yes, yes. And he makes the argument that people don't reshare because of laziness or fear of spamming.
I was tempted to reply on that, because one thing I don't like on Twitter is if you go to someone's profile and their stream just looks like spam. It's just the same post 20 times in a row, or an automatic paperly post. And that's the first sign for me to go, I'm not going to follow them. Obviously, it's just going to be annoying. So I think there's arguments against, I don't know, if you've got an article you don't want to just post it 20 times because people actually there going to look at you are not going to like it. I think he mentioned to try and repurpose each time, which is a lot of extra work, but that would make it a little bit better because then it's not the same thing just going tweet, 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 tweet. But I personally, I only do.
With regard to Twitter, I think they have an algorithm now where the most popular tweet. Oh wait, it's pinned. Yes. Never mind.
I just had an idea. You just tweet and then delete it 20 minutes later.
Yeah, but what happens if someone engages with you?
Good point. But you'd have to
then
have
you have something.
How long's an engagement worth? So maybe you clean up every day. It's still a dodgy thing to do, deleting them. Or use multiple accounts.
Well, I do think this can work for publishers.
How do you mean, Edward?
Well, if you are a local newspaper or what have you, or a blogger, you can retweet more. I think that's more accepted ook. Because if you are just a user and you're going to say 4 times retweet your own tweet, then people might not like you that much. Well, if you are a publisher, people might accept it. Yeah, okay, you shared it a couple of times.
You'll get the follow because of your brand. The people will automatically follow you. Whereas if you're a small guy, you've got to make sure your profile looks good as well and that you're interesting. Whereas, yeah, a publisher, that's not so important. They probably already know the sort of thing you're posting. Jim, last week you said you were auto-tweeting your Google Plus posts.
Yes.
Is that from a external website that does that, or?
No, it's a setting within Google Plus.
Because I was trying to find it. I've got my accounts linked, but I couldn't find anything that was doing any auto tweeting or.
Okay, I did it as soon as Google Plus started rolling. So I don't remember where it was, but I do know it was a setting within Google Plus. I'll see if I can track it down for you and send it to you through the week, Tony.
Yeah, don't panic too much. I went through the whole section of that, and I almost got the feeling that this linking they're downplaying now because it was very hard to find the page with your Facebook and Twitter links.
Was it a Chrome extension, Jim?
No, look, I don't think it was.
Okay.
But look, it might have been. It may well have been. But anyway, look, I'll find it and see. But you know, it wasn't that my point from before. Simple things like retweeting to Twitter. I mean, if you're a publisher, you would sensibly post on Google Plus and repost it the same article to Twitter. I mean, that's good for the Google Plus platform. It brings Twitter users to read a Google Plus article. but instead of surfacing these controls so that Tony McCreath can do that, they focus on moving the yellow bar so you can see the whole picture on Android.
I think they deliberately hide some of these features. Like the one I discovered this week was that you can have a separate login for your page, Google Plus page, which is quite useful for a lot of people, especially if you're in social media where you've got to manage multiple pages and things. And it's hidden well. Like you've got to go to YouTube, or I did, to find it. It's
you can do it through your Google Plus page as well. You go to the setting page of your Google Plus page, and then you can choose to set up a password for that Google Plus page. And
yeah, I think I saw an article that said the shortcut.
And it's quite useful because one problem that some people have is that they want to act as a Google Plus page externally, outside of Google Plus. So if you see a +1 button or share button, what you want to do is to +1 or share as a Google Plus page rather than Google Plus profile. And so that by creating an account for, essentially Google account for that Google Plus page, you can start to act as a page outside of the Google Plus landscape. Obviously, because of how the multiple sign-in works, if you want to do that, you have to sign into the Google account of the Google Plus page first before you sign into your own, because sort of for external sites, so in terms of +1s and share buttons, it's going to be the default account, and default account is, in this instance, the first account you sign into for that session.
Yeah, that's. I've just noted that down because that'd be very useful for my clients. I use separate Chrome sessions for each client, and one common mistake is you're logged in as yourself instead of the page, and you accidentally post as you, not the page. Whereas if you log in as the page, you just won't make that mistake.
Yeah.
So it's a good, and also secure. Like if you're a big agency, you can then just give someone access to the page without them having to create their own account or anything like that. So yeah, definitely uses. With YouTube, it's the only way you can actually automatically upload videos straight to the page or the page's channel.
Yeah. Again, it's to do with what becomes the
default. Yeah.
default.
Yeah.
Just bear with me a minute, guys. I'll be back online shortly if you'd carry on without me.
No worries. That's interesting. I just went onto my Android to see the new photo section, and Google started creating new auto awesomes for me. I'm just getting notifications of some pretty crap auto awesomes, but they're being created. So the whole story is an auto awesome. They must be reprocessing all the images and having another look at what's potentially they can play with and enhance.
Oh, okay. Hasn't happened to my account. Oh, be interesting to know.
Maybe you've not done anything awesome.
Probably.
Mine are, at the moment, it's just when I've done multiple photos of the same thing, it's made a little collage of it. So nothing fancy. What was the question we were on?
Retweeting, and somehow we ended up talking about creating a login for your Google Plus page.
That's my mind for you.
I think we should combine the last two because they're very close to each other. One is the one that I passed up earlier on here, which was the jokes on us. Sharing becomes an excuse not to care. And I think that ties in very well with the article on hashtag. It also mentions a tool I didn't know of called Topsy Labs. It's a tool to see trends on Twitter. But I think really it's telling, isn't it? We have an issue, an absolutely shocking humanitarian issue where 200 girls were kidnapped, and let me say that if these girls were white, it would have been solved and done and dusted by now. But the girls are still not found, but the interest on social media has waned. People that were passionate about the issue. And comments?
Oh, you disappeared there for a second, Jim.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Your key point.
Okay. Well, my point was that, and just wave at me if I drop off again. My point was in social media, a lot of people were very passionate about the fact that these 200 girls had been kidnapped, and I did point out that if those 200 girls were white, this issue would have been solved by now. The world would have been up in arms. But now the interest in the Bring Back Our Girls hashtag on Twitter has waned, and yet the girls are still not found. And so the article that you posted, Tony, I think is telling in.
Gone again. After telling, you said it was telling, and then silence.
What did you want to say? Google doesn't want.
No problem. Well, okay. Look, I'll get rid of that page so it doesn't stuff me up anymore. It's gone. All right. Yeah, I think it's telling that the article that you posted, sharing is an excuse not to care. We're all armchair warriors these days. We get on our white steeds behind a screen and a keyboard, and we do rant and rave, but really, does it mean anything? Does it do anything?
And that article was the fact that the post said one message. If you actually went and read the article, it was saying basically a completely different thing. It was saying this is a gotcha, and people were sharing it without reading the article, which shows how much information we go through and how quickly we just go press a button and do stuff without actually putting any effort in or involvement into it.
Is it really? Are you saying you got me?
Oh, did you not read the article? No, actually, no, that was an article.
No one reads the article before commenting. Come on.
No, that was an article about the gotcha. Yeah, and then I'm thinking about it, and there's the other side is, if nobody did anything, are we worse off? If you didn't post, if you didn't show that 1 second of care, would we be worse off or better off? So I think even if it's 1 second of care, it's still a message. It's still something, especially in this world where we've got a million things flying at us. So it's just to kind of say, pressing a +1 or a like is at least saying I identify a little bit with that.
Well, I guess when we vote, we're only one number, but yeah, our votes are significant as a whole. So yeah, I guess there's something in that.
That's a good one. Another, I just got this in the mail. I don't know if you can read it. It's my Amnesty International membership, and basically I do nothing apart from pay a membership. So it's another little insignificant vote just to say I'm helping out a little bit, and this is my beliefs.
Yeah.
And I went to a meeting once.
Have you been writing Christmas cards to prisoners?
I'll have to admit, I hardly even read the articles they post out. It's, but it is. There's so much going on. Is you've got to make that decision on: am I going to put my attention to that or something else? And so it's got a little bit of my attention, which is better than none.
It's very clever, that gotcha, the bastards.
Another related thing to this is things like this: Bring Back Our Girls. It's got girls involved. It's got children, and that's kind of like attention bait. People do get involved in that, whereas there are a lot of charities around the world where they don't have the cute little kid, they don't have the nice stuff, and that's another problem that we've got with that attention is most people are quite happy to give money to orphans, but if it's just basic, if it's basically making toilets for someone, it's not interesting. So they're the ones that struggle to get the support that's needed. And it's again like some places get quite good at the social media stuff of it to actually make it interesting, and like Kiva is one I go on, and they basically gamified helping people out around the world, and they don't have to be young orphans. They're just people trying to start a business, and whether it's a hairdresser or they need a new cow to keep the farm going. Kiva have managed to gamify that enough that it gets that social media interaction, which is great. But then there's still stuff that they just don't get the money.
Yep. Well, look, I think we've covered all of our questions this week. Do you have any more articles on that list that you keep there, Tony?
I was cooking today, so my list is empty.
Okay. Look, I think we will terminate our broadcast until next week. Thank you for watching Social Media Fridays. Your participation makes what we do worthwhile, and we'll be back at the same time next week. Yeah, thank you very much.